You're live now, Terry.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Credon Hill Parish Council meeting on the 10th of February, virtually at 19:30, just gone now. I would like to remind all councillors that if they've got any declarations of interest, please be sure to declare them. The only other thing is I'm sure you've all seen the television and the newspapers and so forth about parish councils in our other area. And I've been assured by Lee that he will not shut me out. So I think we're safe to carry on. Right, so I declare the meeting open and we go for apologies for absence, Lee.
Councillor Pullen and Councillor Bevan.
Thank you. Right, okay, we go to declarations of interest and dispensation. Declarations of interest?
Yes, I believe we're due to discuss the soil for the backfill at the community lawn fence.
Okay.
9.4. And
I've put in a bid for that one. I'm going to have to hire a digger now because of the weather. it's gone hard.
Okay. So if you could sign the book, Paul, we'd appreciate that.
Will do.
When we're able to do that.
I'll make arrangements for that, no problem.
Okay. Dispensation? No dispensations.
No.
If we move on now to speakers, if Bob, can you
PC Kitchen.
give us?
Yeah.
Yes.
Say again, Lee.
Josh Kitchen is here by the way, Terry.
What do you want to do, Bob? You can go now or after. Hello, Bob.
He's muted.
Bob, you're muted.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let
the police officer go first in case he's called out.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I can't see you yet, Josh, but we'll have a look. See if we. Oh, there we are. Oh, no pictures. Okay. Anyway, Josh, thank you very much for coming along to our meeting. And what have you got to say to us, please?
Sorry, we're having some technical issues here. Can you just confirm you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Brilliant. Thank you. Sorry, it's technology here isn't great. So, right. So, yeah. Firstly, thanks very much for having me to your meeting today. I don't know when the last time you've obviously had a police representative from the local safe neighbourhood team to one of your meetings. The team's changed since the last contact you've had with us. So the team consists of myself as a safe neighbourhood officer and two PCSOs, Adam Westlake and Georgie Boswell. It's obviously slightly new for us. It's the first time I've been in a safe neighbourhood role. But we're very keen to get out and about, and I'm sure you've probably noticed us more in the area than you may have done in the past. Of note for the last month, there's been a few incidents in Credon Hill. A number of incidents of note. There was obviously a theft of lead from the kindergarten building. We only found out about that, unfortunately, via Facebook. So it's still, there's not a lot we can really do with that, unfortunately, because we didn't find out about it until a good week, 10 days after the theft may have happened. We've done some speed enforcement in the village. I know we spoke to a few people on the day, that was the 13th of January. 2 vehicles were speeding along the 20-mile-an-hour zone coming down Station Road. It's something we're going to do more of. It'll be a bit ad hoc. It'll be a case of we'll just turn up a bit randomly, and it may only be for half hour, 40 minutes, and then we'll disappear off to another area. But we're keen to get out and about and just be a bit of a nuisance to anyone that decides they want to speed down some of the main roads into the villages, etc. If there's any questions anyone's got, I'm happy to take some questions now. Alternatively, more than happy for them to come via email at a later date if questions appear later on after I've gone.
Okay, thank you, Josh. Are you finished? Have you?
Like I said, if you've got any questions immediately, I'm happy to take a couple of questions.
I just didn't want to break in on what you were saying. Okay. Well, I was fortunate to be one of the people that saw you in the village, and we had a chat, if you remember. And it is nice to have you here after. Right. Dina.
I'd like to just ask about the A480 that goes along past the top of the village. And are you looking at any speeding violations on that road?
It's something that's under consideration. We've obviously got to identify a safe spot to do any speeding enforcement. In terms of the safer neighbourhood teams, we can only conduct speed enforcement up to 40 miles an hour. Above that, it's obviously got to be the traffic officers. So it's something that was mentioned to us on the day when we were last in the village. And if we can identify a safe spot for us to do some speed enforcement, potentially by the housing for the camp, then that is something we will do.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else, please? Plod.
Yeah, hi. One of the things that's becoming more apparent as more and more people get on their push bikes during obviously the lockdown and so on, the lane or the 480 from the camp out to Stratton Suggers, a lot of cyclists are not using the cycleway, and I realise quite fully that they're not legally obliged to. But it is a very unsafe piece of road, hence the reason the cycle path was installed. And I wonder whether stopping and advising those cyclists that they are putting themselves at greater risk and other road users at greater risk by not using the cycle path that's been provided for their safety. And it's something that has been on the increase since lockdown. I just wonder whether that might be something for the team to consider as a community measure going forward.
Yeah, that's something we can look at. It might be something we incorporate into a bike safety event or something along the line. It's very difficult. I know that stretch road. I've cycled along it myself. It's obviously in the current world of social distancing. It can be a bit inconvenient for the cyclists to be hopping on and off the cycle track and onto the on the road just to avoid people. With a lot of people are walking as well at the moment. But it's something we'll if we can incorporate it into a safer cycling event, then it's something we will do.
Okay, thank you. Anybody next, please? No. Bob, I can't see you, so I'm asking you, did you have anything to say?
Oh, no, I'm okay. I've just been listening very carefully. And
okay.
As far as the footpath concerned, to Paul and PC Kitchener, I have spoke to the MOD police and asked them to keep an eye on things as well, but as the officer said, it's extremely difficult because it's a joint footpath and cycleway. They're not separate. It's a joint effort, and if there's a couple of people walking along and the cyclists are coming down, some of them will step aside and the others will basically force the cyclists onto the road. So it's not an easy solution to overcome.
No. Okay, thank you, Bob. If I could just mention one of the biggest problems we have after the 20 mile an hour is as you go past the shops and up out into the village, there's a bridge, a narrow bridge. And unfortunately, the speed limit changes round about the Roman Park, and by the time they've got past the shops, they've started to speed up, and certainly as they get to the bridge, they're going at quite a speed, and there's been some very close near misses. So, you know, perhaps when you're doing your speed checks, if you wouldn't mind just having a look at that area, you know, the top end of the village, just to see what speeds they are getting up to as they go over the bridge. Another problem we've got is the tractors, and we know that because they're large, when they're going on that road, they look as if they're going faster than they are, but I can assure you some of them are going fast. So, you know, it's a problem. So, yep, that's about it, I think. Anything else you'd like to say, Josh?
No, yeah, when we do speeding, we don't. Every vehicle gets checked for its speed with the speed gun. It's not a case of we'll ignore tractors or lorries or anything. Every vehicle that comes past us gets checked. So if there's tractors speeding, then we'll check them. If they are speeding through the village, we'll obviously deal with it accordingly.
Okay, thank you. Lee, you wanted to come in?
I just wanted to mention about road traders. It's generally the last 2 years in February is around about the time they seem to hit the village. I don't know whether PC Kitchen has got any comments or helpful advice on road traders at all.
We haven't had any sort of instance of road trading reported this year. It is something we will look at, because I know in areas of Birkhill, for example, we've got a no cold area, which is something we'll speak to the trading standards about and see whether that's something we could introduce into Bredon Hill.
That's something we could look at, yeah.
Good, thank you. Is that it, Lee?
The only other thing was the community speed watch scheme. I was in conversation about trying to get volunteers and so on, but I believe that because the survey that was done on the A480 shows that the 85th percentile of speed is at 39 miles an hour, that we can't run that. Is that correct?
I'll be brutally honest, I don't know what the requirements are for that to take place. I do recall, I think you were emailing with my colleague Georgie.
That's right, and she's referred it to, is it Adnam?
Yes, he's the coordinator for it, yes.
Yeah, so I think we were told because there was a survey done on the A480 that the speed is too high for a community scheme to have any impact. So they need to look at engineering changes on the A480 to reduce the speed there. But I just wondered if we could run the scheme on Station Road in the village rather than, you know, on the area that they've done the survey on. I don't know. Because I think I had 4 or 5 volunteers already that were willing to do the volunteering for the work that's involved.
Okay. Well, I know Adnan's coming. He's doing some more training here on the 18th, so I'll raise it with him as the coordinator for it. I believe it's six volunteers are needed.
Yes. Yeah.
But if you get close to that number, then I'm sure it won't take much for you to get another 1 or 2 involved to reach that number. But I'll raise it with Adnan and see what can be done about perhaps moving it onto Station Road.
I think the point Terry made about people coming in from the rural side of the village on Station Road is a key one, because it's 60 mile an hour until you get to the Roman Park essentially, and it does take them a while to slow down. So I think that would be an area we'd concentrate on, and obviously the 20, and sort of work with you guys on that area.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll speak to Adnan, and then I'll pop an email back to the Parish Council once I've spoken to him on the 18th.
Okay. And I suppose are there any other schemes that other parishes are running to reduce crime rates and improve safety around the village, etc., that are good examples that we could use? That I suppose that's the other thing.
The main one that sort of is used is the community speed watch that's used in Marden and Sutton. There's obviously the neighbourhood watch scheme as well. There is a few changes afoot with that because it comes to the end of the financial year. So once we've had the full details of that, we can then disseminate that to the Parish Council if that's something you'd like to look at.
Yeah, okay. No problem.
Thank you very much. Right. Okay, Josh. Really nice to see you. As you can see, our main problem is speeding and some petty crime and so forth. So thank you for coming and seeing us, and I hope to see you at the parish councils when you're available and able to come. So thank you once again. Thank you.
Yeah, we're more than welcome. Anytime you've got meetings, just let us know, and hopefully one of us will be around, and we'll either attend electronically or when circumstances allow, we'll come along in person.
That will be good. Really good. Okay, thank you very much. Bob.
No problem. Thanks much for your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bob.
Yeah.
See ya.
Can you hear me, Terry?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, well, first of all, neighbourhood watch scheme was mentioned. I have great pleasure in telling you I started the first one in the country and got a very nice letter from the Home Secretary congratulating me. So there we are. Just a little bit of pointless information. The first thing I've got, Chairman, is that report back on that lane between Crednhill and Burghill by the cottages.
Yes.
It's a bit lengthy, so I'll skip through it very quickly. Further to the discussion regarding the potential treatments to address instances of alleged speeding by vehicles, having looked at the location, in reality it's going to be incredibly difficult to influence behaviour. Short of ensuring improved adequate visibility from the property accesses is maintained in order to ensure safe access. Egress. This often has the impact on people's perception of speed of main road vehicles. The only option available might be the use of edge of the carriageway lines to help make the roadblock look narrower. However, this would usually be used in conjunction with the lower speed limit. In the current climate, you listen to this, in the current climate, it would be usual for the Parish Council to fund these sorts of additional measures, and with limited certainty of any success, it would need careful consideration. If something they wish to consider, then we can discuss, advise on ideas on what might be possible. In some instances, parishes may wish to consider an aspirational traffic plan for the village as a whole that will ultimately act as a guide for future works and how they might wish to change the character of the village over time. To better serve the needs of the community and to provide more of a sense of place rather than the movement of traffic dominating the local environment. This can also be used to target funding received through Section 106 monies, ensure that the charges to the road environment aim towards the agreed plan. Costing for this sort of work would need to be comparability as a guide. The other issue, if you think it would apply, but it wouldn't apply with a traffic regulation order, the surrounding wouldn't warrant that. So basically, that's where we are. That came from Simon Hobbs, who's head of traffic management, and basically what he's saying is the edge of road white lining is a possibility, but as I warned you at the last meeting, in the current climate, it would be the Parish Council expected to pay what it called blah, 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 blah. Unfortunately, we're going to get a lot of that now. They're going to try and push the back on parish councils. I've told them in no uncertain terms that parish councils have put their precept in place some time ago, and at the end of the day, whether it's the parish council or the county council, still the hard-pressed public paying. So they're just passing the buck on to parish council to save having to put the council tax up further. That's basically it. So and that's that. I'll just go on, and any questions I'll take after. The Western Bypass has now been formally stopped, but that which I have been happy with. I've always felt from an economic point of view, and the businesses back me, that the Eastern one was more appropriate to improve the local economy and improve the A49 to Ross. But hopefully we're going to progress Eastern River crossing. But one little plus to it all, the 1,400 houses off Kingsacre Road, I'm now told, because there's no road going through there, that those numbers will be greatly reduced to around about 450. So we won't have quite the volume of traffic on Kingsacre we would have had otherwise. We've got the budget up on Friday, which I've had, been working on all day. I've got all my notes and preparations together now, and obviously I'll have plenty to say on the matter. And as I said, as far as I'm concerned, if they're not careful, it's a budget for unemployment and the loss of more businesses, because in my opinion, it's a very negative budget with little or no assistance for businesses and the community in that form. Because if we haven't got a flourishing, secure, prosperous local economy, it's only through the taxes and the wealth from those places that provide the essential services that keeps the wheels turning. And at the moment, things aren't looking too good. So I think we've got some very difficult times ahead. That's about it, folks. I'm quite happy to take any questions if anybody's got any issues to raise.
Anybody? Right, I have, Bob, as I will always have.
Yeah.
My beef is that we've been told that our council tax is going to go up 5%.
Yep.
You've said tonight, and we've had discussions about that, you and I, before, that the council keep trying to push things on to the parish councils.
Yep.
Which they're not set up to do, I might say. The parish councils are not set up to do that. So if our council tax is going up 5%, what the hell are they doing with the money?
Totally agree with you, because Worcester, I think was 2. I think they've up to 2.5 now. They had the same. They had 126 million off the government for this COVID-19 virus, and they also had the budget money that was in place before, but they reckon that only covered 60% of the extra cost brought about by it. We all appreciate it's difficult times, and I accept that. But having said that, there's been no staff cuts or no cutting back within the council itself. They're pushing everything out to the public, and that's concerning. I'll be saying that very forcibly on Friday, and it concerns me greatly, because there's little or no point in just passing the buck to the parishes, because it's the poor, hard-working public that have to pick up the bill in that way. So it's it's just their way of giving the impression that they're managing things, fairly well and all that. But I do accept it's difficult times, but obviously we're going to have to speak up to make sure we watch what we're doing. Because about them passing the assets over, apparently what they're going to do, they're going to offer them to the parishes, like open spaces and all the rest of it, and they'll hand them over formally to you, legally, if you take them on. But what the position is, if you don't, they've made it abundantly clear that they'll be cut less frequent. So the standards will drop off in that field, and it's never been brilliant anyway. So it's a worrying issue either way. So we'll just have to see, colleagues, how it pans out, and then deal with issues as they arise, But it's a very worrying time.
Yeah, well, that's fine. We've heard that from you before, but and we certainly, as a parish council, would look at it. But what we don't want is the Balfour Beatty and the county council passing to us a load of work, such as ground maintenance and things like that. and water ditches, etc., etc. So, okay, I can see where we're going with. Yeah, I'll speak to you in a minute, Bob. Paul, I mean, I can see where they're going with this, but they're certainly not going to push over to us a load of problems. Blood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, I'm very much of the same mind as yourself, and I would put forward the observation that if they did shove it over to us, if it did become our responsibility, would we indeed have the flexibility and the authority to actually go beyond the preferred contractor and start, rather than going to Balfour Beatty to get these things done and to dig holes in the road, actually go out to other contractors that may actually come in at a cheaper price. So if they're going to hand it over to us, but then point us back at their own contractor at their prices, then yeah, it's a poison chalice, isn't it?
Yes, it's not going to happen.
No, exactly.
No. Yeah, so just going back, Bob, to them trying to pass the buck to us. As I said, we are not set up to do all what they're saying, and certainly we cannot afford to do that. The 5%, I'd like to know where that's going, but certainly when they were all elected, they told us that they got all the answers, but it's obvious that they haven't, and I hope the electorate will vote accordingly.
Chairman, if I can just come back there to clarify a few issues, in case there's some misunderstanding. I think they're going to offer you these assets if you want them. If you look at them carefully, and if they fully sign them over to you, and if there's no uplift clauses or any clauses on them, it leaves it open to you then to possible obtain planning or something in the future if you should so wish. So, so all you've got to do is assess each thing as it comes up.
Yes, okay.
But I think the whole object is, if they hand it over to you, you're fully responsible to it. And my understanding is you could use private contractors to maintain it. But
Okay.
We'll have to see. They haven't made it perfectly clear yet. But what they're saying basically is, we'll offer it you. If you don't take it, we're going to be cut back. Instead of having it mowed once a month, whatever it is, it'll be probably once every 2 months. Don't quote those as true figures. Just to give you a rough example of what the thinking is, because of their cutbacks, So we'll have to wait and see what comes out in the coming weeks, and we'll take each issue up if necessary. You can rest assured I'll do my best to protect you, as I always have done.
Okay, thank you very much, Bob, and we know that you will do that. So, is there any other questions before I move on? No? Oh, yes, Jenny.
Yeah, can I just go back to the houses between Credden Hill and Berg Hill, and whether as a parish we can have a look at what the options are and what costings would be, so that because it's a bit vague, it's sort of saying, well, we could do something, but we don't actually know how much, what the time scale is.
Yeah.
So could we have a meeting with somebody and find out what our options are and the costs involved?
Yeah, well, basically, all he's saying at the moment, there's this. They put white lining along the road between the camp and Stratton Douglas, along the edge of the road. They reckon that gives the impression that the road's more narrow than what it really is. So it concentrates people's minds and slows them down. But on a country road like that, sadly and unfortunately, then I'm sure the police officer would have told you the same. There's literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds in the county in similar circumstances. And I've just gone through a process of speed limits through Upper Brington, where there's blimey, 100 houses, and they've even turned it down there because they didn't think that there was adequate traffic flow and no history of accidents. So to try and consider speed limits or anything like that, it's a criteria that's been changed now, and the police say, we haven't got the manpower to enforce it, because you will recall, colleagues, we had to fight like the devil, Chairman, to get the speed limit from Stretton up to the camp. And that's a main A-class road with a 1,500 people moving it, civilians moving in out there every day. So it's very difficult to get them to do much there. You know, probably not the next one, probably the one after, invite one of them to come on to the Parish Council, one of the highways people, and you can question them and ask them to what options or what ideas they've got.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'll liaise with you, Terry and Lee, when you want to go.
Lee, was you going to say something?
There's a question for Bob on Facebook asking if there's any update on the proposed housing, the 100 houses.
No, I haven't heard a thing. I think they're, as you know, we've made it abundantly clear, unless a satisfactory way forward can be found with the cycle route, they've either got to find another way through, or that's the issue, and we've made it abundantly clear that we'll oppose it all the way until everybody's satisfied with that. And I haven't heard another word from anybody. So I spoke to Charlotte Atkins about a week ago, and she hadn't heard any more, apart from the fact that the applicants, I understand, are talking to, is it Persimmon, I think it is, and discussions are at that level, but nothing's come out further than that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We now move on to public question time. Is there anything else, Lee?
No, that's it.
That was just that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you to that person for calling in, and
Rob Jones.
Rob Jones, and for putting your question forward. Thank you very much. Right. To approve and sign the minutes as a true record of the Credenhill Parish Council meeting on the 20th of January 2021. Could I have well, you should have all had a copy on your emails. And could I please have a proposal of those that were at that meeting, that it is a true record? Okay, so it's Paul Warrington and Paul.
Yes, Terry. That's it.
Thank you, Paul. I can never, Beeching. Sorry, I can never remember. There's too many Pauls.
Yeah, I'm the youngest one, Terry, so you got to remember.
Well, Paul, you can see that.
No king.
You're my best friend, Terry. Thanks very much.
No.
There we go.
Careful, you'll be videoed you'll be on
doing that, and yeah, what can I say? Right, okay, we now move on to the financial report, 61, 62, 63, 64. Lee, could you give us a report, please?
Try and whiz through it, because Rana needs to go and sort the lambs out. Okay. So
well, I need to sort this out that's sitting in front of me. The cat.
So the bank balance at the end of January was 85,941.47. We had the rent from the nursery, outstanding CCN advert, a small amount of interest, 71 pence. And we received the third COVID grant for the Roman Park, £6,001. The trade waste for the quarter has gone out, as well as the nest pension for December, and the cheques, or the payment, should I say, that were authorised in the last meeting. The 2 electricity bills that we pay for the changing rooms and car park lights. Checks to authorise this period. So Craig's not working on the litter picking at the moment because of the lockdown. We've got some bill here which relates to December, because if you remember last month we didn't have a bill off him, so that's December plus some maintenance work which we've got him doing, basically away from public areas essentially. So expenses and wages as usual, and HMRC, PAYE, CCN printing, the berries costs that were agreed at the last meeting. Now this is an agenda item further down, the hall heating. So when we cover this, Terry, we just need to make a note that that will be potentially authorised or not later in the meeting. In order to fund that, we need to transfer 3,000 from the reserve account. We've still got this £37 outstanding from the football. There's also £25 that I need to raise as well from the last game. Darren Coates was unwell with COVID, so I haven't chased him because he's on one of the Facebook accounts that I use. So I haven't chased him, and I've left him be because he's not very well. So I'll chase that up before the next meeting. And then this is the bill that I've raised for the net value of this figure, the 7, which will go to the community hall, and that'll be paid. It's not due yet, assuming that the payment is authorised later in the meeting. Normal bits and bobs that aren't due yet: website hosting fee for the month, Cisco WebEx monthly fee, and then the 2 electricity bills, which go out by direct debit. No real changes here in other liabilities. DFIB fund, Nest, and the deposit and youth funds are all the same. And then the HMRC, obviously that goes up each month, and then I'll do the claim at the end of March. Reserves haven't changed much because we didn't spend much last period. So I don't really need to go through that in too much detail. So that's the monthly finances. Comparison to budget, again, not much change since last period in terms of big differences. So just go back to the totals really. We've overspent by £1,300 compared to budget total. But we've had an extra £17,000 in grants, so we're up 16,000 on the year, and we fully expect all of the costs are managed within budget anyway. There's a few which are massively under, like the CCN printing, for example, and then we overspent, as you know, on the grant provision for local grants. So yeah, so we're in a good position. We're up significantly compared to where we were at the start of the year. Any questions on finance? No, everyone seems to be happy.
Could I ask Lee, Chairman? We did discuss it a little bit, you and I, and about the bus pull-in. Did you manage, Lee, after to get in touch with Bruce Evans or something to get things moving?
I'm waiting for a response from Bruce. So the situation is, for the councillors that haven't been involved in the discussion, Bob mentioned at the last meeting, obviously, he's happy for us to move it forward, and he was just concerned about the bird nesting season. So 2 things really from that. Craig and I spent last Thursday just clearing a lot of the sort of brambles and so on, and the smaller trees, which means there's 9 trees that we couldn't move because they're just too big for manual tools. So we've made a start in clearing it, and we need to just get in a contractor to clear the trees, because clearly we're not going to get transfer of the land into Hereford Council's name or our name, depending on how that pans out, in time for the end of the month. So 2-pronged attack. And then I've tried to get in touch with Mark Hadley, who was the guy that did the drawings for us and so on, since November last year. and he's not returned my calls, and I've had no response from emails. But then I've later, through a conversation with the locality steward, found out that he's left Balfour Beatty, which there wasn't any message on it on his answer phone or any response on his email that said I've left the business type thing. So that was a bit annoying. So I've tried to contact Bruce Evans yesterday, and I've sent him an email, so hopefully he'll get back to me in the next couple of days. But we need to we just need to know where Hereford Council are in terms of who will effectively own the land, in light of Bob's recent message about everything going out to the parishes. Will the land go into highways ownership, or will it be Parish Council owned? So that's the first question. The Rees brothers don't really care, to be honest. They're quite happy to gift the land to whoever, as long as the purpose is a bus pull in or stop, whatever we want to call it. And they were happy for us to make a start on the work while the land is still in their ownership. So we've got that £38,000 there. There is the option, while it's in their ownership, to make a start on the clearance work if we wanted to. But I just need to get confirmation from Bruce, really, because I haven't done a project like this before, what the next steps are from their point of view. Because I think we need...
If he doesn't come back to you in the next couple of days, get in touch with me, Lee, and I'll make sure he does,
Yeah, I'll ring him again tomorrow. He's not very good on it. He doesn't really like putting things in writing, I find.
Yeah. Normally he's one of the best. He responds, Just one little query. Shouldn't it be 40,000, not 38, Lee?
Well, you've spent that money on the plans. That's what...
I see. That's all right. No, that's all right. I just thought that...
and me and Craig aren't
the chairman... I thought the chairman had run away with a couple of thousand, No, that's fine. That's fine.
I've muted you. You muted, Terry.
But it's... no, we want to... My understanding is, Lee and chairman and folks, if it's... The county council didn't want to know us. They said there was no money to be had, and we negotiated and got it ourselves. So the money's under the control of yourselves and me and blah, blah, blah. And my understanding is if you buy the land and pay for it, it'll be in your ownership. And they'll own the path to the edge of the path, and from there on in would be yours. And if they wanted to do anything in the future, they'd have to consult you, But either way, we want to get it moving, get the damn thing done, and get a proper fence across there and tidy up that area, which we both all been looking forward to, and it's time the job was moved on. So see how you get on, Lee. Any hold up, get in touch.
The other thing I just wanted clarification from Bruce on is, obviously on the planning application, one of the conditions was that the plan was followed to the letter, and there's a picture obviously of a bus pull-in on the plan. So condition 2 on the application needs something doing to it, because it's not at the moment been followed, essentially.
Have a word with him when he gets in touch, and I find him excellent.
Yeah.
If he doesn't respond to you tomorrow, give me a ring and I'll ring him, and I can rest assured he'll be back to you in a few hours.
No problem. It's just obviously we need to tidy all those things up. Just so there's no recourse.
Quite right. Hold on just a sec. We've gone from finance to bus stops, and I consider, and I will brief the councillors, that this is part of another item on next agenda, when we know exactly what the council are doing, because it's not as easy as you say, Bob, that whoever takes over ownership of it, we're being misled here, as far as I'm concerned, and I will discuss that further with the councillors, because as far as I'm concerned, it's the county council's job and highways. It was part of the planning applications conditions that road improvements were made there. And we agreed to hold the money so that the county council could do the road improvements. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the way it stays. Now, if you want us to hand that money back, we will, but we will insist on the conditions.
I shouldn't have brought it up. I merely was trying to help Lee to make sure that Bruce Evans answered. Wait until you hear from Bruce, and he'll explain the position exactly. I mean, you and I don't care whether it's the county council that own it or parish council that own it, as long as the damn job gets done.
Well, as long as it doesn't cost the parish any money, because it's not the parish's responsibility.
Well, that's 38,000 should cover it anyway. So.
Well, we'll wait and see.
But,
okay, right. Can we move on then with the finances and so forth? Ladies and gentlemen, Lee's given his report. Can you have a look, or hopefully you've had a look at it. Could I have a proposer and a seconder that we pass the financial statement? And I can't see. I think of Paul BG. Anybody else?
Martin.
Martin, then, please.
Yeah.
And Paul Warrington.
Well, we've got a plethora of Pauls, haven't we? Yeah. We just pick on who we think would be the right one at the time. Okay. Right, we move on now to planning. I've got a confession to make. I said at the last meeting that 81 Eckroyd Park had been passed. In fact, it hasn't been passed. I've checked it today. It still hasn't been passed. And this was for a revised scheme to the original application. And this is where I went wrong, which has been approved, but now they want to make it 3-bedroom. So my apologies for misleading you on that one. And hopefully you'll accept my apology. Town well, that's the ongoing improvements, and there was no comments we made on that one. Land south of the A480, which are the 100 houses, Bob's given us a briefing on that tonight, and at the moment there's no action at all. So is there any questions on the planning? No. Okay, we'll move on from that one then, and we'll go on to the reports from the working groups and finance, I think. Is there anything further on the finance, Lee?
No, obviously we're just coming up to close to year end, so...
Yeah.
Other than
okay, any questions on that, ladies and gentlemen? Please shout if, because I can't see everybody. No. Okay, Community Hall, right, Community Hall. This is going to come up later, but I'll just give you a brief. I passed notes to Lee that will go to the minutes, but a meeting was held on the 25th of January, and there was 7 of us there, including Lee, and the main reason it was held was to discuss the heating. Now, the heating, there's been quite a few estimates or quotes been received. There's been surveys done, there's been heating surveys done, but they've come to a conclusion that the heating, we need to do something now, because for one thing, the nutty knitters can't do their knitting because their hands are shaking so much. But the other groups that work in there, they're finding it extremely cold. Now, it's okay. Everybody wants a super duper system in there, but at the moment, as far as the hall is concerned, it's not affordable. They've had several quotes. And the cheapest quotes at the moment, or they're not the cheapest, but they're the ones that they can work with, are for the heating. Now, this is down heating. Now, there is radiators around the wall, but they do not push out enough heat to push the heating up into the hall. Most of the heating going up into the roof. Now, any of you that have been in the hall, and I hope all of you, you will find that the ceiling is very, very, very high. So if you wanted to work on stilts, you'd be lovely, but unfortunately, at ground level, it's very, very cold. So the heating that they accepted at the moment, or would like to work with at the moment, is down heaters, which will make the air warmer and hopefully, solve some of the problems. Now, they did have a quote that was going to take in the toilets as well, but it was decided that to cut that back and they would concentrate on the main hall. So nobody wants to stick in the toilets all night anyway. So the main hall is the main problem. As I said, they have done quite a lot of work on this, certainly over the last 6 months or more, to try and come to some solution. And this is the solution that they've come to at the moment. The costings on the full quote for the whole of the building came to £16,402.74. That included VAT. But as you can see, that's quite unaffordable for them. The revised quote for just the hall itself was £7,075.43, with £1,179.24 VAT. So what the hall are asking is that the Parish Council will order the heating, and they will grant some of the money back to the Parish Council, that's the VAT, and hopefully we can sort of get some form of heating in there pretty quickly. You might say that heating is not a problem at the moment, which it's not, but that hall can sometimes be cold in the summer, so a solution has got to be done. It's the pity, because so much work has been done in the hall, like the painting and other things that that needed doing, so to get people back into the hall. Oh, the toilets have been done as well. We need to do something remedial, but just to get some warmth back into the building. Long-term plans, lots of money. So yes, that's about it for the hall. Any questions?
Chairman, can I come in, Chairman? I'm going to leave you now because I've got to sort a few things out for tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Thank you very much.
Bye, folks.
Bye now. Right, anything on the community hall, please? Martin, did you want to say anything?
No.
I can't see everybody, so I'm just going to go along the line. No, nobody. Okay, so that's the hall. Footpaths. Plod. Where's he gone?
Need to unmute, please.
Oh, me?
No, not you.
It's okay. I got a call from Lee, and she sent me up to see one of the footpaths that he had a report from somebody on. I believe it was number 15, which starts on the lane just west of the village. And I couldn't actually find the entrance to the footpath. The sign was missing, and there was no gate or stile, and indeed no indication where the footpath went from there. I looked at the map, and I reported back to Lee. I think I sent you some photographs, Lee.
Yep.
Yep. Did you enjoy them all? Yeah.
Very informative.
And yeah, I believe that's been referred to the public rights of way bit. I wasn't able to go further up, which was where the overgrowth was reputed to start, owing to no access to the field and a herd of inquisitive sheep, just all standing there looking at me. So I don't know how long that's been in that sort of status, and whether or not folks are just refinding their public rights of way.
I'm sorry, Paul. I'm a little bit lost. Whereabouts is this?
If you go west of the village on the main road on the 480,
Yeah.
Just after the last of the houses on the main road,
Yes.
there's a turning on the right,
Yes.
which goes up to 2 dwellings,
Yeah.
and the footpath starts about 2/3 of the way up that lane, and heads off and comes into I believe it's the sort of far end of the woods.
Okay.
So it's number 15 on the map.
Yeah.
Well, he's just pulling up the map.
That bit there.
That bit there.
Right. Okay.
And
I honestly don't know about that footpath at all.
So this cropped up as a result of putting the map in the CCN.
Yeah.
Somebody's obviously been up there to
Have a look.
to walk that route, and the problem is there's not even a way marker, is there? Paul?
there's no sign or style or gate or anything, and there's no indication other than that map on the ground of where the footpath goes.
And the first half of it is across a field, and then it joins undergrowth, overgrowth, which is part of the woods.
A tree line, about where your cursor is.
Okay.
From about where it starts to dogleg there.
It appears to follow the field boundary, but there was no indication on which side of the field boundary that it might go. Usually, I would have imagined that there'd be a stile, or at least there's certainly a footpath post and sign, which it didn't have. And I sent a couple of photographs up and down the lane to show the location, and hopefully from that map and my photographs you'll be able to see where it should be. And as it was on a field boundary, if you were walking the wrong side of the field boundary, you could either be trespassing or on the footpath.
Right. Okay, so that's in the hands of the footpath officer at the council, is it? Or
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Their PROW team.
Okay. Can we move on? You're happy with that, everybody?
Could I just say a bit about the woods?
Yes, Martin.
I reported on it last week. I went up there today, and the progress up there is painfully slow. They've still got a huge amount of timber to take out, and that they've not done anything about opening up the footpath, which they've closed, which they said they'd be doing quite quickly.
Okay.
So I think we need to keep an eye on that one.
Okay. Do you have any contact with them, Lee?
Well, do you want me to follow
Just
up, Martin?
mention to...
Yeah, I think because you've got his last email where he said that.
Yeah.
And that nothing's been done and a month has gone by.
Okay.
I know you blame the weather, but we need to keep on to that because it is a public footpath.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Martin. Right, can we move on to the shops, please? No reports from the shops?
No, Doc just passed on that there was nothing to report about the shops at the moment.
Okay. It's just that it's very messy there at the moment with rubbish and God knows what. Okay. War memorials. Dina, anything?
No updates. It's with me, I think.
Yeah.
Terry.
Okay. So there is no updates on that.
No. You're all right, Dina?
Dina? Can you
Sorry, we can't hear you, Dina.
Hello, Dina?
Thank you.
Dina, anything for the War Memorial?
No. Nothing new for me.
Okay, thank you.
That's just with me, Terry, to get the quotes.
Okay, yeah. Right, flood alleviation scheme.
Yes, we met at the community hall, Terry, Martin and myself, to sign the final contracts and documents. We did it in a socially distanced manner and so on. Martin witnessed the signatures. That's gone off back to the solicitor, and then they've got to send it to Hereford Council for it to be sealed. So I'm just waiting for confirmation that that's been completed.
Okay.
So hopefully by next meeting, and we can take that off the
agenda.
Groups. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're now on schools. Rana, have we anything on the schools?
Nothing new, I don't think. I spoke to the caretaker this afternoon.
Okay.
And he was just saying that they're in good spirits. We've got between 50 and 60 children going in regularly, mostly people whose parents have to work away. And he thought that the children would really enjoy going to school when they can.
Yeah.
Go back to school. So if nothing else comes from this, perhaps children will enjoy the thought of school instead of dreading it.
Yeah. I have been told that there's an increase of children actually attending school from the first lockdown.
Yes.
Because a lot more parents have been told that they've got to work, which, is a bit serious, but if that's the way it's got to be, it's the way it's got to be, I suppose. Okay, we move on to Roman Park. Anything for Roman Park? Jenny, Bex? Oh, no. Is it?
No, nothing from me.
Nothing from me. No. Okay. Social club. Paul?
It's still closed and nothing to report.
Okay. Asset management. Lee, have you got anything on that?
No.
No. COVID-19. Has anybody got anything to report back? I did speak to Rana earlier about a lonely lady, but is there anybody else got anything that concerns us with people that may be struggling with COVID-19 restrictions? No. Okay, we move on. So that's the reporting groups. We now move on to matters arising, and it will be the first one is review the designs for the community centre. The sign.
Yep.
Sorry. Yep. Comments.
Okay, so this is the second draft. I had to send it back first time because they'd made the Scouts badge bigger than the Performing Arts one, and I just thought politically we need to keep things the same size to keep all the groups happy and so on. But this is the so it'd be 4 foot by 4 foot V-shaped sign, so 2 signs effectively, one in each direction, so that people coming into the village from Kenchester will be able to see one side, and then people coming down the station road from the other direction will be able to see the other side. The idea is it gives you a visual of what happens down there, and it also tells you the names of the buildings. I did wonder whether we needed to change nursery to resource centre, because the actual name of the building is resource centre. But apart from that, unless anybody else, I did send it out to all of the groups. Most comments were positive. I had a comment saying maybe the green should be a more darker sort of in-your-face colour. But apart from that, perhaps we could find something that represented the older generations more, because it's all young generations. So I don't know if we could replace the music notes for something that would be to do with I don't know, a cup with a teacup, or I don't know what any ideas. What's everyone's thoughts? Yay, no?
Yeah. Lee?
Yes.
Can you tell me, what's the approximate diameter of the 8 circles? Where I'm going is that I would have thought it was better if they were smaller and Credon Hill Community Centre was larger.
Yeah.
Again, what's the height of the lettering there?
Yeah. 14 is 7 is 2 foot, 3.5 is a foot. About 7-inch diameter.
Oh, only 7. Oh, all right. Well, that means the lettering is can only be about 4 inches then.
Probably.
Yeah. I would have gone the other way and made those smaller and put Credon Hill Community Centre bigger on 3 lines, but, you know, it's the only comment I make.
Anybody else got any comments?
And at the bottom, where it says nursery, you could put resource centre and nursery, couldn't you?
Yes, that might fit.
Because that wouldn't take up any more space, would it?
No.
Because that's what it is, isn't it?
Yes.
Rana, did you want to speak?
Well, I just wondered if Lee got my email, because I responded
yes,
to my email.
We're going to, obviously there's 4 councillors that don't know. We're going to have a closed session after this meeting and the agenda's finished, just to discuss an item that can't be discussed yet with the general public. So there's something there that might affect the sign. So
okay.
So nobody's adverse to the sign.
No.
If we can take into consideration Martin's, if we can know the size of the letters and that, if they can be made slightly larger, then that would be nice, because it's quite right.
Yeah.
It's no good having a sign without who we are, really, and we are Credon Hill. So, yeah, okay. What about anybody? Yes, Bex.
So why don't you then just make the sign bigger if you like it as it is? Can it not go slightly bigger in the sign size rather than tinkering with the size of the font?
I'm just
how much that would increase the cost, but is it looking at the other way, make the sign slightly bigger to therefore accommodate, like Martin says, and I agree with that, make it a bit more punchy. Yeah.
One of the issues I've encountered is to because it's not part of the fabric of the buildings, we're going to have to get planning permission for it, and it's over a certain size as well. So that's why the current sign is the size it is, because it's under the legal limit for requiring planning permission. Whereas this will require planning permission. So, and I think one of the issues might be if we go any bigger, then we might struggle with planning because it's too much of a distraction for drivers from a safety point of view. So we've got to get a sort of balance between in your face and no car accidents type thing. If that makes sense. But I take your point, Bex.
Yeah.
Well, if we could just make the sign bigger. Yeah.
What'd you say, Bex?
Fine, it makes perfect sense, and of course there'd be planning permission because it would never be easy and straightforward. But obviously, if
I know.
limits, but they should be adhering to for coming down the hill, then your point would be they shouldn't be distracted by the sign. And if it's that big, they would see it clearly and in plenty of time. It is It is slightly bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Because when you can't see what the symbols are as well, then it's all a bit. You've got somebody instantly slamming on the brakes to see what the symbols are. So it's good luck with that.
I think at the end of the day, with planning permission and all what we've been told tonight, I think it's a time to claim independence.
What is the maximum size before planning permission is required?
That one that we've got, I think it's 1.2 square metres of size, but because this is double-sided, it's double the amount.
Okay.
Because it's got a sign on both sides. So for us to be within the limit, it'd have to be
0.6.
half of this size for it to be double-sided, which then it's not going to be visible at all then.
Well, the other my thought is is it worth sticking up a sign that is the maximum size before planning in a location where we might consider it would be, and then taking photographs of it so that it can be, we can visualize it, if you like, as if we're going to spend money on the sign at a time when sort of the public purse is being hammered from all directions. We may or may not open ourselves up to criticism, and the planning process I'm sure is going to take funds and time. So I mean I guess what I'm doing is preaching caution, and can we do it within the regulations and minimising cost, so to speak.
Yes.
But also meeting, our aspirations for the effect.
Well, I think, Lee, this covers that, doesn't it?
Well, it's 3% of our budget, so
yeah, but it needs planning
for the year. So, I think, having listened to the groups down there, that they feel that this would be very helpful from a advertising point of view for the buildings there, and it actually will pay for itself in the sense that they will get more visitors than they currently get. So, and new visitors. So I think there's value in putting the sign there, but I don't know whether we can quantify. It's not quantifiable until after the event, really.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, certainly the hall and the the hall and the social club have been asking for a sign to be put there, and I know that the play school have had problems with people not being able to find them, and also the fact it says community hall, it's different to the one on campus, Netley. So they will know that it's community hall rather than the camp community centre.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else got anything to say on that?
Jenny has.
And the ABC on the brick, is that the wrong way round? It's really messing my head. I can't get the
B's wrong.
It's back to front, isn't it, the B?
No, it's just upside down. If you turn the cube over.
Yeah, it is right then.
Yeah, it messed with my...
But then the A's upside down. Anyway, and the other thing is, do we have anywhere down at that end of the village that says for Roman Park that car parking is at Credon Hill Community Centre?
No, that's the next thing we do need to do, because the Roman Park sign is terrible as well.
Yeah.
So parking at... Okay, so that will come on Roman Park as a separate signage there.
Yes. And what I was going to suggest is the little sign we've got in the community centre, we can replace that with the kind of regulations of the car park and say that it's for the use of Roman Park, Social Club, Community Centre and Resource Centre. No overnight parking, blah-de-blah, dogs on leads and all of that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah.
So that could be the sign, and who to contact if there's a problem, because it doesn't even say that on the sign at the moment. If someone breaks down and they want to leave their car overnight, well, they have to just leave it there and abandon it and not speak to anybody. And then they get me posting their photo of their car on Facebook to say it's been left there for 4 nights. Can you move it? So I think that sign needs updating as well, but I think we need to just work through sign by sign and get them all right.
Okay, so what's the costing on this one, Lee?
This is the one you agreed at the last meeting, so I think it was 850 plus VAT.
Right.
Because it's a really big, massive sign with 3 posts, and that includes the installation as well, and the printing, obviously, and the design work. I don't know what the planning costs will be yet. That's the next phase.
So we still have to go for planning, even with this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's twice the legal size, and it's double-sided.
Okay. So how are we to proceed on this one then? Are we...
Well, so if you're happy with the design, then the next step is to move to the planning process, because they might come back and say, well, no, because the sign's too big, or no, because it's too distracting, or so on. So, or yes, no problem.
Yeah.
Paul Warrington wants to speak, Terry.
Paul, go ahead, Paul.
What's the sign actually made out of, Lee? Is it plastic or?
I can't remember now. That's a good question.
Just curious. I mean, I'm thinking it's a lot of money, and longevity-wise, it needs to be for that sort of money something that's going to last, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's metal, if I remember rightly.
Right. Okay. That's just a thought.
I think all the others are metal, aren't they? So generally they're metal.
Metal posts. Yeah, I'm sure it's metal.
Okay, that's cool.
Can we ask the planning department how much it will cost for us to request a new sign? You see, the problem is highways is going to come into this and everything else, isn't it?
Yeah, we're going to have to go through the same consultation. Yeah. Because the school have asked for a sign as well on the village green, and I've told them that yes, you'd need permission from us, but you'll need to get planning permission as well.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll put this one in abeyance then. We can't really move on that one, can we?
Well, we can if we're happy with the design.
Can I just say something on the design?
Okay.
You've got welcome to at the top in capital letters, and then all the rest of the font is in lowercase, the capital C and so on. And I just that's something that would annoy me as well. That it's partly capitalled and partly not.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you think the top half should all be in capitals, or?
Yeah, because it would be bigger all round it, wouldn't it?
It'd be more in your face.
Yeah, it would stand out better. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And what about the bottom bit?
And that's the other thing. Did I miss something? But I heard you talking a bit about the community hall and the community centre. But is it a community centre or a community hall?
Well, the community centre is the whole site.
Yes.
Oh, I think that a whole complex. I see. Yeah.
And they're the three buildings that are there.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. I can't see that whole poster because your face is in the middle of it.
My face?
Or on the side of it. Yeah. That's how my...
That's going to be on the sign, isn't it, Lee? That's meant to be how it is, isn't it? Lee, can I just say something?
Yes.
Just quickly.
Go ahead.
Would we not... I, for one, have got different thoughts on the layout of the sign personally, but I won't go into the details now if you don't want to hear it. I'd like to see the layout different. But are we missing the Credden Hill kind of logo that we have appearing on other headed paper? And we got the tree, haven't we?
The Parish Council.
Usually the tree that we've got, yeah. Would that not flank the Credden, either side of the Credden Hill to make it a bit more pleasing to the eye, or? Because it looks like a military sign to me from where I'm seeing. It's very grey and it's very. Personally, I like to see it altered differently just to see how it looks with Welcome to Credden Hill Community Centre to include, and then you've got Community Hall with their logos, then you've got Sports and Social Club with their little logos, and then the Resource Centre with their logos. So each one has what's in the community centre, what's in the community hall, and what's in the resource centre. Where if you went to a normal road sign, you would see a picture of a tree, and then it would say Forest of Dean or something, wouldn't it? You wouldn't just put all those little logos in there and then have everything at the bottom because you don't know what's in what building.
Yes, but this is not a road sign, is it? It's
yes, I know, but
it's
still
to
the
let
point.
people know. It's to let people know where to go for the facilities that are on there. It's not a road sign.
I think I can see where Paul's going with that, and I did consider that as a way forward. But some of the things cross between buildings. So, for example, in the community hall, we have a lot of young children's activities. So the ABC sign works for two buildings. The same with the music. Obviously, that works for all three buildings. The performing arts type shows, they have music and shows in both buildings. So, the scouts and the guides, obviously they just use the community hall and the darts, etc. But there is a bit of cross, kind of things that go on in the set in that are the same, that are in two different buildings, if you like.
Can I say a word?
Yep.
Didn't we look at a sign that had a sort of elevated top? We could put the tree in the middle of there. Has this got a flat top?
It has got a flat top, hasn't it?
Yeah, but didn't we look at one that went up?
Yeah, we did.
And you could put the tree up there, because I like Paul's idea of the tree.
Yeah, I do as well.
My only reservation about the tree is that the actual tree is dying, isn't it? So at some point we'll have a tree logo and no tree. We'll have no tree, but we'll have a tree logo.
The tree's a tree.
That's right. And all these trees that you're going to put in the village, Lee, I don't think a few more will matter.
No, tree's a tree.
I suppose so. Yeah.
Can I point out, I find Paul's point interesting with regard to the colour. I get what he's saying. Why can't they then the brown? You know, like where you have got the sports centre is normally a brown sign, or it's a place of interest, it's a brown sign. I think that's interesting that Paul has actually picked up on. I like the idea of the tree as well, just being next to it, because I think it is a symbolisation of the village regardless. And, but I think brown could be a contender to go with the highways signs for that. So that's my 2 penneth on that.
Yeah.
Lee, can I ask what I thought we decided on the style of the shape of the sign that we all liked and agreed on last time? What happened to that, or is that still this just a square just to base on what the sign is going to read? Are we still, because that was quite a...
Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to look for the original design that they sent through. Because it did have the tree on.
Because that was a 3-posted sign, if I recall rightly, and it had like it's like a, I don't know the name of the word now, but it's like a rounded top with
that's what I've done.
Flanking each side. And I just thought, as like we say, with the tree, you can even have the tree as a faded green colour in the backdrop with the writing over the front of the tree. It doesn't have to flank anything, but it could be, because I think that's what we all recognise and represent with Credden Hill, isn't it? Is that tree. Whether it's going to be with us forever or not is another matter. But
yeah.
Just a point of order there, Lee. I think the mollusk on the shell logo, that's dead as well.
Yeah, true. This was the original one they sent.
There was another one before that, Lee, with the dome top.
Yeah, but that was for a care home, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, but it can be adapted, surely.
Yeah, no, I think the dome top is definitely feasible.
That's better, I think, that one.
Well, my feedback from what this was to go back and just make the circles similar sizes, because I don't want Magna thinking that they're not as important as the Scouts, for example, you know. Terry, just thinking about the way this is panning out, I just wondered if we needed to set up a little working group and...
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody interested in that? To get together?
Yeah, I'd be interested. Yeah, I would be.
Paul?
Yeah. Paul and Paul.
Paul and Paul?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Martin.
Rana? Yeah, Rana.
I would be, but I'm actually a bit snowed under with funerals right at the moment.
Okay.
So I prefer not to, but I'm happy to raise a comment if asked.
Now with this working group, bearing in mind what we said at the beginning of the meeting, is you elect your own chairman, and it's not for me to take over as chairman of your meeting. So you elect your own chairman of the meeting and proceed from then on. And of course you can invite Lee as well.
Just thinking on going back to what I mentioned earlier on about the size and the planning and so on and so forth. If we were to welcome to Credden Hill Community Centre and just community hall, social and sports club, resource centre and nursery, and do away with the logo section, the pictorial section.
Yeah.
Would we be able to shrink that sign down to still make it reasonably visible?
We could discuss this all night. Can I ask you to, with your working group, if you can discuss all that between you, and if I can ask Lee to, if you could set that up, Lee, for them on the WebEx.
Yeah. Well, I think probably the best thing to do is to see if I can get the designer to come into the meeting.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we're going to be back and forth. Whereas we've got the designer there, and we just talk through all of the issues, and thoughts and so on. Then we can get to a point, hopefully at the end of the meeting, that we've got something the designer can go away and produce. Otherwise, if we have a bit of a talking shop, then go back to him, and then he produces something completely different.
Okay.
Could be here for a while.
Yeah. So, if I can ask those that are quite happy to volunteer for that group, if Lee will get together with you and have a meeting. So if we could move on now, Lee. So we'll go on to update and ongoing surface water and flooding issues. Wow.
Okay, so basically we had issues with the Barlands on the A480, which I went to see her and just check whether she was okay and needed any help, and she was worried, but the water didn't actually come in this time because of all the work she did last time clearing the ditches. So and I saw Paul there, and we did some photos and stuff that we shared with you. I followed the trail back to a pipe off a farm field, and that's all been reported to Balfour Beatty now. Balfour Beatty have been out, cleared the ditch on the corner, you've probably noticed, and they've cleared out 2 drain holes. So there's a significant amount of areas now that the water can go into, and hopefully it might not even get down to the field that's being developed, but we'll see next time it happens. It'll be interesting to see what effect that's had. The other issue was the water at the back of Glebe Close was coming into the gardens, or starting to. So we followed that back to another drain that was basically spewing water out instead of taking it in. So again, that's been reported to Balfour Beatty. Those drains are going to be, the 3 drains there on that junction are going to get jetted, and we're going to monitor it again after the next big downfall. So I don't know whether there was any major issues down at Mill Farm. You're on mute, mate.
Claude, you're muted.
Yeah, we had the jetters down, crikey, a couple of months back, and it was interesting that I was able to inform them where the pipe went, and actually lead them to the jetting point and the inspection point that we actually installed many years ago when we got flooded, which they didn't know about and it's not on their plans. So that was useful. The guys were really appreciative of the support and input. I don't think they were that upset with me, because it meant they were able to complete a job rather than get called back again. So
yeah, and then
we've been okay. We've been okay with the recent levels. I did go and have a look at the at the flood alleviation grid at one point, just to assure myself that it was flowing, and it was flowing. Wasn't too badly blocked up.
Was all the debris on the top of the grill when you got there, or was it?
No,
because it was subsequently cleared by our friendly resident.
Oh right.
So that was cleared, and then the following week, Balfour came and cleared the debris that was cleared for them.
I believe that's going to be something that's going to continue.
Yeah.
You know, if you want a problem solved, we have to solve it ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes. So there's 2 issues that are with Balfour at the moment on 2 various on the issue with the A480 flooding down there where the new houses are proposed, and at the top here that are still open and being investigated. So they uncovered a drain here that they didn't know about as well on the A480. And when we logged the job on the Saturday, I saw the van turn up, so I put my wellies on, started walking across the field, and by the time I got there, they'd stopped for 1 minute, looked at what was going on, turned the van round and drove off. They didn't even get out of the van. Very annoying. Anyway, so it's with Balfour.
Okay, if we can move on then. Review the new heating proposal received from the community hall trustees. I think Lee had sent out to everybody the proposals that Betty had received, but I do know that Lee has done a considerable amount of work on this himself, so I'll leave him to speak on that part.
So essentially the whole committee have been looking at heating options. They've looked at new gas boiler, solar panels as well, with batteries to store electricity to power the heating system, so an electric system. But that was too expensive. They ruled out heat pumps as well because of cost of installation. I sent this document out to you, and essentially they're looking at putting in infrared heating panels in these hanging from the ceiling, so that you heat the people instead of all of the space essentially. What the hall are requesting is that we pay for the heating system, and they make a contribution towards it, which is equivalent to the net amount. So effectively, it doesn't cost us anything. That's what the request is essentially. They've got multiple quotes as well. Sorry.
Yeah. So the amount that they're asking us to pay is a little bit further down, isn't it?
Yes. So at the moment, they're just asking for us to pay for the equipment.
Okay.
Which is the item that I put on the agenda on the finance for payment, which I said we would have to come back to and authorise if we were happy to do this.
Okay. Any thoughts on that, ladies and gentlemen, please? Yes, Plod.
Yeah, just an observation, and not to be on everybody's fire list. With these infrared panels, one of the concerns, just an observation, are they retractable? And so if the hall is hired for something that requires a little bit of height, are they going to be at risk of damage, or can they be retracted into the, further up into the ceiling? And if they're in a fixed location close to the people, lower down, then they're also going to be at risk from certain activities within the hall. Don't know.
Yeah.
Can I come in there, Terry?
Yes, Martin.
I mean, do we have any ball games in the hall? I mean,
not at the moment.
No. I mean, I could go on.
Oh, hold on a sec. We have the nutty knitters who've got knitting balls.
I mean, I could go on all night about this, but I won't. But to my mind, any infrared heaters directing heat down are yesterday's technology and a total waste of time and money. But that's my opinion, and I have quite a bit of experience in it, and I wouldn't go for that. But we're only asking to approve the money and not comment on the system, as far as I can see.
It is a little bit of that, but I think the fact that it's our building, we should have a little bit of a say.
Yeah, right. You see, you're never going to solve it unless you spend a lot of money.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
And this is a sticking plaster job, so be it.
Dina.
I'm just interested. There must be health and safety regulations for them to be put in, so they must be safe enough. And they know it's a community centre.
Yeah.
Community hall. So I can't really see that should be a problem.
My concern is not their impact on the people; it's the people's impact upon them. If they're hanging down at a low level, and the scouts are playing a particularly boisterous game of something or other, the chances of them getting clouted, knocked out of the roof, or knocked down, or even damaged to the extent that then we have to step in and repair.
Do we know that they're going to be hanging down low?
We don't. I don't.
That's why I was asking for clarification. And
I totally agree with you, Plod. Totally agree with you. Yeah.
I think there's something we must check on, Lee. If it's found that the heaters are going to be at a safe level, would we be happy to propose that we carry out the ordering and the financial aspect of it to leave them from VAT? No comments? So once we've checked the height and so forth and the safety aspect, is anybody prepared to give anybody prepared to propose it, and is anybody prepared to second it at this time? No. Okay. The only thing I'm going to say is, because I sit on the whole committee meeting on behalf of the Parish Council, is the longer we put this off, the longer that they're not going to have any heat or proper heat. So the users are not going to, it's not going to be comfortable to use. But nonetheless, we'll put it back to them, and we will get confirmation of height and the safety aspects of it, and see how we go from there. Yes, Plod?
Yeah, just thinking, I mean, the cost and the complexity of the solar panels and the storage and so on and so forth, which is more of a new millennia kind of solution to the problem and sustainable. What about grants and support and so on and so forth for installing an avant-garde system and actually making that kind of investment? Have we done?
They have. Yes, they have. David, I can never say his surname, has gone out and tried to get grants. They've been refused. I can't remember on what grounds, but I know certainly they have gone out to try and get grants, and they've been refused. So it's not that they haven't done their homework. It's just the fact that nobody would fund it. Oh, they did get some sort of grant because, or they was offered some sort of grant if they put in a certain system, but it was unaffordable to them at the time. I can't remember the system it was now, but it involved sort of digging holes in grounds and all that sort of thing. And as I said, not affordable to the hall at this time.
I thought that was ground source heating, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And I suspect that they're a bit like our churches, in that they aren't properly, the building isn't properly insulated.
No.
And then there are no grants.
No, it's
properly insulated.
Yeah. In fact, the building is, it was when it was built like a industrial building, as you can see from the iron stanchions from the outside, and the height of the building was built so that they could do badminton and all that sort of thing. Yes, Lee, you wanted to speak?
Yeah, I've just looked at the installation guide, and they're mounted actually on the ceiling. 22 millimetres deep.
Any comments from councillors, please?
You won't feel them from up there. Far too high up.
I'm pretty sure they have to be quite low, actually, because they do put them in churches, and you almost have to feel them. You almost have to be right underneath.
Yeah, useless.
It says they can't be suspended as well, actually, so sorry.
We will come back to you at the next meeting and see exactly how they're going to be installed, and the suitability of them for a hall such as we've got, and take it from there. I'll go back and explain to them. That's your feelings on it. The only thing is would anybody else like to join me at these meetings? Yeah, don't all volunteer at once.
Terry, can I just say about the heating? I mean, we're
Yes, Paul.
mid-February already, aren't we? I think by the time they're actually, even if we paid for this heating, it's going to be May before it's installed or everything. So I think it's better to bide our time, look at more options, and maybe look at it towards next winter, getting it done for next winter.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. It's like the lamb to the slaughter, is it? I'll go back and tell them that after they've done all the work. But nonetheless, if you're not happy, then you're not happy, and then I'll take it back to them.
I think it's coming up with the right solution for it.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced those panels.
So, what about the Parish Council assisting them with a bigger grant than normal so they can have a dearer system then?
I think we should. I think if it's the right heating system, that we should help them to get it. I think it'd be a shame to just put something in that's temporary and useless that we will regret for the next 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something sustainable.
Yeah. Lee, what would you say as a financial wizard on this? What would you say about that?
You've only got I've told you about overspending on grants next year. You've only got £4,500 for grants next year.
Yeah.
The only other funds you can dip into are the Roman Park Fund or the Culverts Fund.
And we can't touch the culvert one.
Or repairs and maintenance. But I will note that they have, I think it's £17,000 odd in grants in the same way that we've had. So the solution that they put together is quite a reasonable investment that they could put into it. They'll obviously be looking at, with this solution, what they were going to do is do this and make a start on the kitchen as well.
Kitchen, that's right, yeah.
Whereas if we are saying that actually we think they need to revisit it and look at other options that might be more expensive, because there is experience and advice from within the council that suggests that these systems aren't up to standard, and there's concerns about the the application, if you like, because of the use of the hall, the ball game and such like. So yeah, I think we can feedback positively that the council's willing to help, but they want the right system.
Yeah. Okay. We will do that.
Financially, you've got £4,500 to split between whoever applies for Section 137 grants this year.
Yeah.
If they've got, if they can't have a grant to do the heating, but they could perhaps get a grant to do the kitchen, they could spend their money differently.
Yes, I think that's what they're going to do, is apply for a grant from us for help with the kitchen, and then they were going to do the other half of the kitchen next year.
If they didn't be able to get a grant from other sources as well, I mean, it wouldn't have to just be
I think David was trying to get it from the EU, but I'm not sure they'll be very responsive now.
No, David has tried all the funds that you would normally go to, but I'm sure you know, Rana, that all the funds, the charities and funds and so forth, they're all struggling.
Yeah.
The only one I've just thought of is they could try the Bournemouth Fund, but we'll think about that. But let me go back to them, explain what's been said, and we'll take it from there. But what I will say to them with your blessing is that if they're prepared to wait, then we could look favourably about helping them a bit more, perhaps in 2022. So I think, yeah, I think that's the way to go. But if you're not happy with it, and I'm quite happy to go back and tell them that. So I think in our own hearts, Lee and I have not been happy with it, but we have to do the job that we're requested to do. Okay. If we move on then from that, quotes to received for soil to back up and fill the community hall fence. Well, all know that the fence has been complete and it's looking grand, but there is a bit of backfill of soil and so forth. So can I leave that to you, Lee, please?
Mr. Chairman, is this where I leave?
You can leave, yeah.
You don't. You don't need to. You just don't need to comment. That's all. You can leave if you want.
I shall shut up then.
Well, that's difficult. So, lovely. You two decide. Okay.
So we've received 3 quotes for topsoil, and I forwarded them out to you. The cheapest one is from Mill Farm at £23.50 a tonne, plus VAT delivered. And Mill Farm have also offered to help us spread it out, but also they will supply what we need, as opposed to having to try and work it out, and then we might not have enough, or we might have too much. So I'd like someone to propose that we use Mill Farm to supply us with some soil, please.
So what's the actual cost going to be?
If we were to say a maximum of 12 tonnes, that would definitely cover it, because that's 6 cubic metres. I think it's probably about 4 or 5 cubic metres, but it's very difficult to tell until you've started putting the soil in.
Okay.
So if you could do a maximum, then we can work to that, can't we?
So if we say a maximum of 12 tonne then?
Yeah.
So what's that cost? I haven't got my calculator.
£282 plus VAT.
Okay, and we get the VAT back anyway, so...
Yeah.
Okay, so... Councillors, can I have a proposal for £282 downwards? Bex, I'm looking.
And Jenny.
And Jenny. Thank you. Right. Can we move on to...
Any objections to that?
Was there any objections? Sorry.
Well, it's just because it's a councillor, I think we need to cover that, Terry.
Okay.
Yep.
Any objections, please? No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lee.
It's all right.
Okay. Formation of a new volunteer. Have I got it right? Hold on. Formation of a new volunteer group. This was mentioned on Facebook, was it, Lee? Or
yeah, and the Nextdoor app. Emma Jones from the Crednell Community Cleanup Group has. I was in contact with her about various things, and she's interested in doing some wild verges. So the council will be really excited by this, because it means they don't have to cut the verges so much. So essentially, she advertised for volunteers, and she's got 7 in the group. The group will be called, help me out, guys. Crednell Community Blooming Group.
All right.
I think
that sounds.
And with the support of the Parish Council, I believe that group will be able to brighten the place up, plant some nice bulbs and flowers and so on around the village, and hopefully make the place look a lot nicer.
Lovely.
So I'd just like to thank Emma for advertising that, and
the
volunteers that have come forward so far.
Will they be needing any assistance from the Parish Council for
Well, we've got
bulbs and things?
We've got some funds available, haven't we, that we put aside for bulbs and planting and stuff.
Okay.
And I've done an application to Hereford Council for some spare tools, which I'm informed that we've got. I've just got to wait till there's a suitable time to go and collect them.
Okay.
So that's that.
So yeah, well, yeah, that is really good, and I'm pleased that she's got 7 volunteers, because we know how hard it is to get volunteers to do things in the village. So
2 of them are parish councillors.
Are they?
Yes, myself and Bex. I don't know if any of the other parish councillors put their name down.
I'm one.
Lee, yeah. So a clerk, 2 councillors, and yeah, a good little.
I'd dearly love to come and help you, but I don't think my my bones will allow me. But I'm really chuffed that you're all doing that, and thank you. Okay, if we can move on to the ground maintenance tenders, Lee.
Just simply that they've now been issued, and we should start to receive tenders in, and the closing date's the end of the month. So I think we just need the council to agree that a working group can meet to look at the tenders and present at the April meeting. It'll be.
Okay. Would anybody like to join that working group?
Just 3 or 4 people.
Yeah, it's very easy.
It's normally Martin, Terry, me, and there you go, Paul Warrington.
Paul Warrington. Anybody else? No.
Probably it's just 1 meeting, that one. So
yeah.
Okay.
That's magic. Thank you very much. Ground maintenance tender. Section 137 grants 2122. That's our funds.
Yeah, so I've mentioned that we've got 4,500 budgeted. Just need clarification if you're happy with the process to go ahead as per last year's process. If we, that would be good. Yes,
Martin.
Could we just extend it by another month to give a bit more time?
Yeah.
To the end of April rather than the end of March.
Is everybody happy with that? Sounds like a good idea.
The only observation there is May's a busy meeting because we have the AGM and the May meeting, so including discussion about the grants in that meeting will be quite a lot, I think. So you might want to move it to June if you're going to do that.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is everybody happy with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Magic.
Just we might be able to contact more people by then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to go and batter them again, Martin, to see if we can get a bit more?
We'll see what the conditions are like. But, yeah.
Okay, man.
We haven't got much money this year.
No. Okay. Right. I think we've come to the end of
Terry,
those. So yes.
Terry, Plod's got his hand up. Sorry, you probably can't see on your screen.
No.
Just an observation. I believe last year or the year before, with a view to applicants, and bearing in mind that we only have a certain amount of money to go around, that I would like to see that we don't fund applications in their entirety as such. If we've got a body that's coming to us and they want £2,000 for camping equipment, for example, if they've got a portion of the funds themselves, then we'll help make up the balance, rather than actually fund the full sort of 4,500 for their camping equipment. If you follow my argument, so basically what the parish council are saying is we've got money and we can grant it to you as a gift, if you like. It's in our gift, but we're not going to give you all money for your project. We want to see some application and some investment from your side And I'm wondering whether we put a percentage figure on the amount of our grant. So if an organisation needs £2,000 for something, then we will give them up to 60% of it, and they will have to find the rest from their own funds. I mean, that would leave us more in the pot to spread around a bit.
I think it. I think you're right, but I think with the groups that we're working with, such as the Scouts, if they do apply, and the Guides, and those smaller groups, if you put that sort of restriction on them, then they will not ask for the grant, and not do what they would like to do. So I don't know. There is some restrictions, isn't there, Lee? They have to.
The application form does ask them to confirm what the overall cost is and what they're asking for, so they can be two different amounts. And that's really at the decision stage, because you might have £4,500, but if you've only had grant applications in this round for £4,000, well, you can give, you can afford to give it all out. But if you're having grant applications that are well over the amount we've got available, then perhaps funding them all as a percentage is a fairer way of dealing with it. But you might then say, well, actually, this particular fund benefits more people, so you might want to give more of a proportion. So I think there's more than just applying a set percentage. But yes, the council can do that.
But it will be up to the grants committee to make those decisions at the time, and if they're not happy with what's being presented to them, then obviously they will refuse. But to put too many restrictions, I'm concerned. It's up to the parish council, really. But any comments, ladies and gentlemen? No.
So in the policy, in the section where it says how do we make the decision, it does say that we consider their own fundraising activities as part of the application process, which is, I think I take exactly what Claude is saying. It's about how much the group wants it to happen.
Yeah.
Are they actively raising funds anyway to make it happen, or are they just having the money because it's available, which is very different.
And that's kind of my point. It's
But with the Scouts and the Guide, and it's going to be extremely difficult this year. They have a precept that they have to pay, and that precept is normally paid for by their subs, their subscriptions, and so forth. I think if they haven't got that money this year, which is a requirement, it's the insurance, and the insurance is quite high. If they haven't got that, they will fold. So,
my question's been answered by an examination of the small print on there. But I do think it's something that we, as a parish council, that we have this money in our gift, and that we need to be seen to be.
Absolutely, but that's why we have a grants committee to make sure that we are giving parish council money for the right things.
Now I'm reading. Now we've had a quick walk through the detail of the rules. I'm mollified.
You're what?
Mollified.
Mollified?
Yeah, it's when you get someone called Molly. No, that's
Anyway,
my point was answered.
We've got to move on. Public question time. Anything, Lee?
No, I've just checked.
Nothing at all.
No, just the question earlier.
Yeah. If I can just say thank you to all those people that may have been watching us on Facebook and Twitter, and I hope you enjoyed our meeting. Yes, thank you for joining us. Lee, I think we need to close the meeting.
Yeah, just a second.
And, yeah, we will close the meeting and we will reopen the meeting afterwards, because it's to be done in private, in committee rather.
Closed session.
Closed session.